and welcome to another episode of Photopeeps. And it's going to be a very special one today. We've got a guest with us today that has over 100,000 Instagram followers, known mainly for his wildlife and his owl photography. But this guy and the images is going to blow you away.
Don't build it up too much, Darren.
Please welcome Mr. David Driver.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, mate. Yeah. Try to keep warm, but yeah, good.
Yeah. I bet you've been out in all this snowy weather, haven't you?
I have been out for the last couple of weeks, yeah. And yeah, I mean, jumping straight into it, I've been out last week looking for the long-eared owls, which I've had a lot of success with recently. And this last week, they've just vanished. And I don't know if it's the brightness on the snow or whether it's just the cold. But yeah, I've been out -6 or 7 hours a day for days, and
nice.
got very little. And then today I've been out photographing the grandkids sledging, which I got lots of. I got 1,700 images of kids coming down the hill on the slide, not trying to kill themselves. But yeah, even my wife joined in. It was a good, a nice little set. That
yeah. Oh, nice one. We asked this question to everyone. Where did you start with photography? Where did the ambition for photography start?
I've been really lucky. I've had a career in photography all my life. I'm retired now, but my whole life's been involved with photography. Not necessarily taking the pictures, but I started off as a layout artist originally, running a design department, drawing up pictures, and I drew up pages for mail order catalogues. And then I used to art direct the photography. I'd had the idea originally how I wanted the page to look. So I used to art direct the photography to make it look how I wanted it to look. So I was heavily involved with photographers right from the start. Did layout art for quite a number of years. I mean, that was the old days when it was all hand-drawn. Nothing was on computer. It was all pen and paper. And I worked for Grattan in their design department as a design coordinator and art director. And then we used to place our work out to photographers. And after a few years, one of the main studios we used to use, the owner and director came to me and said, "Look, how do you fancy coming and joining us?" And I mean, I've always loved photography. I know nothing about at that point. I knew nothing about photography at all.
Yeah.
I knew what looked good, and I knew how to make an image look nice.
Yeah,
which was my sort of strong point, and I had loads of ideas, but photography I didn't know a lot about. Now, luckily, he said, "Look, I'm retiring. Do you fancy coming along?" And I thought, I can't miss an opportunity like this. So I joined him as a director of the company, and it was one of the biggest studios in the north of England. Did thousands of pages of mail order photography, mainly product photography, and I was sort of thrown in the deep end. And in fact, after a very short space of time, maybe only a few weeks, he said, "Right, I think you got the hang of this, David. I said, "Well, you said you'd stick with me for a couple of years, we'd overlap." No, I said, "You're right." And off he went. Sort of left the deep end. Knew very little about photography, but I was blessed with working with incredibly talented photographers, which I've done all my life. So that's how it all started. I was in the studio, I was out directing shots. I also ran the design department, so that's where everything started. So I'd got the concept to start with, and I knew how I wanted something to look, albeit a washing machine. And then we got involved with the Next Catalogue, who were very innovative.
Yeah.
They were sort of allowed us to push the limits of things and let us be very, very creative with a product. So it gave us a great opportunity. And that was that.
Oh, nice.
So, that was maybe 30 years ago. I had a friend who used to work with me at Grattan, and he left the same sort of time as me to run a different studio. And he was on the fashion side. I was on the non-fashion side, just product photography, pots, pans, all sorts of things, which I loved doing. It was great. In fact, I just wanted to express a creativity, really, and bring it out in something. Anyway, this lad, he got involved with fashion, and I worked in Preston at the time, and he used to send me postcards. It's like Barbados 6, Preston 0. Down 4, Preston 0. I would always 0. All around the world, Miami, San Diego, all at Cape Town, beautiful places. And I thought, I fancy a bit of that myself. So we set up a fashion company, mainly because that's the direction I wanted to go in. I like the travel. I've always liked travel. It got me out. I've always liked being outside in the fresh air. I hate being inside, really. And it got me out on beaches, in woodlands, all over the world, with teams of models shooting clothes. So he sort of
Oh, nice.
that's how I got into that, really.
So yeah, you've done a bit of all sorts, and haven't you? And I'm well aware of what lighting's needed with.
Well, as I say,
with
I
films.
work with the best. These guys were very, very good photographers, top of the game. And although I wasn't trying to learn from them, because at that point I had no intention of. I mean, I always had a camera and I always took pictures, but I wasn't trying to up to that level where they were. I was just involved, but things rub off on you, don't they?
Yeah,
So
too right. They do. Yeah.
after a few years of that, the big problem in life was clients. Never had keen on clients. I wanted to do my own thing, and I was splitting the money with a lot of other people. So I left and set up my own company, and I'd bought a farm 40 years ago now, which I couldn't really afford, to be honest, at the time. Bit of land with it, and I'd some outbuildings and stables, and I converted some of the stables into studios, and again employed photographers, used to come in and do basically what I'd been doing before, but the profit was going back into to me, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
Into
Going back into your company and stuff like that.
I wasn't splitting it so many ways. So after a very short space of time, I was able to sort of think to myself, right, what do you want to do? Do you want to continue doing this? I mean, I did love it. I've always loved what I've done, and if you're totally choosing your own path and you can do exactly what you want to do, when you want to do it, choose your subject, you're not answering to anybody apart from yourself, obviously it's going to be a much better path to go down. So
it's going to open a lot of doorways as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Other things.
So it was a very difficult decision. It's when I sort of had sleepless nights for 2 or 3 years thinking, right, because it was very successful. It was doing very, very well. And I sort of turned my back on that just to sort of stop it, say, right. I mean, I didn't stop completely. There's always been a couple of companies like British Wool, which was a family company at the time. People I got on really, really well with, lovely to work with, lovely people. So I kept shooting those. I had bits of commercial work, but basically I sort of canned it all the big heavy duty stuff that just gets you down.
Yeah.
And say, right, what do you fancy doing? I'd always liked landscapes. Oh, so in between that, I picked up a lot because I had my own studio. I'd got all my own. It's 300 yards from my house. I could go in on a night and fiddle with the lighting and learn and play, and that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And if I got any questions, I could ask the guys who came in the next morning. I've just done this, and it's not quite how you do it. What do you think? So I learned a lot along that way. So yeah, I got to a point where I thought, right, I'm gonna can that, and I'll just do my landscape stuff. So as I said, I always loved travelling. So I went around the world travelling, shooting landscapes, and I had an incredible time and just absolutely loved it. And as sure you know, Darren, it's the play of light on the subject and on what you're doing and getting up earlier and going back to the same place time and time again. And I'm a very sort of obsessive sort of person, so I get something in my head, and I'm actually, I've never gambled because it ended up very badly, and I know because I wouldn't get into something. I totally submerge myself in it.
Yeah, Daniel's a bit like that. Yeah, you get obsessed with a spot and try to get it every time.
Yeah.
A bit daft, as my wife tells me. I got obsessed with flamingos in Bolivia, so I was out there shooting flamingos. It drove her mad. And then lone trees in Tuscany.
Yeah.
And you find a lone tree on a hillside, so that's beautiful, but the light's wrong. So you go back and you go back and you go back and you go back.
Yeah.
Sunflower fields in Provence, another one. Drove her mad. Back and back and back and back. Just wait for the light to be just right. You've got 1,000 shots, yeah, but I'm quite good. And you know yourself, you feel it. You feel it when it's just right, and it makes you so happy when you've got the shot. So you carry on, and that's what makes you do it all the time. You carry on going back.
So what we'll do, David's mentioned landscapes there.
Yeah.
What we'll do, I'll share this screen now.
Okay.
And we'll go into some of David's landscapes because these are absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, mate. Right, that's an image. I've always liked this image. It's very, very simple. Simplistic image, but it's a little house in Iceland, a little church in Iceland that I'd found, and I'd seen it, and I did the Iceland Ring Road, and I'd planned all these places, and it was all a bit. I'd got one chance to shoot it, and that was it because I was moving on the next day. And the night we got here was absolutely pouring down with rain and shocking and grey and miserable. And I thought, oh, it's going to be a total disaster. And when I got there, to my delight, the thing was lit up. So that they've got little floodlights which lit that front of the church.
So that little church is lit up.
It's lit up, and that's why it's glowing like that. Yeah, it's
nice.
It's not being fiddled with. I say it's not being fiddled with. I fiddle with everything because it's just how you write it. But, I mean, it's not being manipulated in any way as such. That there were floodlights around the thing, and I didn't know that. And I got there, and it'd been pissing down with rain all the time, very, very grey and miserable. And I thought, it's going to be a total washout. Is this? Got out of the car, walked up this hill, and there it was, all lit up, and it was one of those sort of joyous things. Got some shots, and my wife was actually holding an umbrella in front of the camera to try to keep the because it was filtered, try to keep the water off the lens. But yeah, it's a very simple image, but I think one that's quite effective and one I've always liked.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, there's certain things, churches that are sort of on my big tick list, and I also go around whenever I go anywhere. I sort of research what.
Yeah, I think some of the images coming up, there are a lot of churches stuff involved there. What do you think? What do you like about this one, then, Daniel?
The leading line, the foreground. I've got a soft spot for foreground.
With
regards to editing, with regards to editing, David, was there much work in this?
With what? Sorry.
With regards to the editing side of it,
not a great deal, no, because this light in the front was said the church was floodlit, and there was other floodlights there because there was like a path, and the flood. I mean, I have enhanced it. To be honest, it's a few years ago. So I can't remember exactly what I did with it, but I have enhanced it. But what I liked about that is the texture of the grass. Again, just very simple structure of the building. So there was a nice sort of contrast, and it sort of gave you. I mean, if I'd fudged it myself, I'd have had the leading line go straight up to the church. But that's what it was.
It's just that nice little touch of copper in the bottom left there.
It's in the right direction. Yeah, I think that's just the grass tones. The time of year we went, nice. It was sort of. It was shocking weather.
So what time of year was this then?
That'd be about September. No, it was October. It was October because we went in October. So when we got there, it was actually pouring down with rain. That's what we found. And then as we got further along the coast, the winds had picked up, and the winds got up to 140 miles an hour. So the police actually closed the road at one point. So they closed the road forward. We couldn't go that way. We couldn't go back because if we did the circuit the other way around, we'd never get around the whole thing and back to the airport again. We couldn't go inland because the snow was too deep and the sea was at the other side of us, so we're completely stuck. So that was maybe 10 days after this, a bit further up the coast. But luckily, and I do tend to be quite a lucky person, luckily the place where we got stuck and blocked in, I think some of those pictures coming up later, was one of my favourite spots that I really, really wanted to stay at. But yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. What we'll do, I'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Right, another little church, yeah. And
definitely.
This is a church. It's been photographed quite a few times. We're trying to bring a bit of a different take on it. So it's called the Black Church of Nador, I think it is. And it's a cowbag of a place to get to. You drive for miles. At this point, the weather had changed from rain to sleet and into snow. And it was really quite grim. And I was wondering whether we're doing the right thing. And it was bone-achingly cold. And got out, saw the little church, and then I walked into this field, and I love this grass. And again, it's similar to what Daniel said on the other. You've got those textures in front that have a nice interplay between the church, and the clouds had just fallen nicely for me. And what I mean, artists, poets, we're all the same people. We're all sort of fantasists. And in my head, I saw this link between sort of God and earth. Through the church, and there's just a band of no man's land. There was the earth, the people at the bottom in the sort of texture of the grasses, and God up in his booming sky, and this little church was connecting the two. I saw sort of a connection of religion, and that's how I saw it. And I did a whole series of these. In fact, there's very, very few actually.
It is a very powerful image, though, isn't it? It's very striking.
I like it, and it's one of these images. I say there's not many of my own images that I really like. It's not this particular one, but of the same place. I've got one hung on my wall, and again, I very rarely hang my own pictures on the wall. But it's very similar to that. Yeah.
Are you very critical of your own work then?
Yeah, there's not much I like at all in my own work because I always
What?
find what's wrong with it. I'm one of these people. I don't look at it, and it's pretty much with life, really, which is a bit sad. I don't look at life and think, "Oh, great, I've got this and I've got that." I think, "Oh shit, I've just done that." And I think
Yeah.
again, I am a perfectionist, and I like to keep pushing myself. And I mean, I'm going on 70 now, and I've been doing it all these years, and I still get up in the morning, I still go out and shoot, I still edit, and I'm just working and working and working more hours probably than I did before. Uh, and it's part of it, isn't it? It's just part of it.
Yeah,
And
it certainly is. But you're doing it for yourself now, aren't you?
I'm doing it for
That's it.
myself.
It's
I've got to get a buzz from the image. And I have
Yeah.
got thousands and thousands. I've got thousands that I've taken. I've not even edited yet. I mean, I could never go out again. I could, and I could still, be busy the rest of my life. But there's certain things, and when you get a bit of a story, and then you sort of be built up in your head, and you tell yourself the tale, and you sort of believe in it, and it all comes to life. But there's always things I find that I don't like about a shot, or that I just wish I'd done this, or I just wish I'd done that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am very, very critical of my own work. Occasionally, I get one that's that I think is pretty close to where I want to be. But I think that's what keeps you going out day after day after day. And
Yeah. Oh, too right it is. Yeah.
you push, and I'm not where I want to be necessarily, but I do know now that now as opposed to 2 years ago, I'm a lot closer.
Yeah.
I look back at some of my owls from even over 5, 6 years, 4 or 5 years ago, and cringe is the wrong word, but you think, whoa, I could do a lot better than that now. So yeah, there's always that.
On this one
Right, yeah,
again.
Nice.
Pop of colour.
that's in the Lofoten Islands, year before last, and it's just I said, there's a little place called Hamoy, which is a village of red huts and an incredible mountain before, and it's a really popular picture. Everyone shot it to death, and I did shoot it because I had to do, but it wasn't one of my main pictures there because it's so been overdone. But a bit further around the corner from that, there's this little hut. Most of the buildings are all painted red. Red was all painted red because and these orangey colours because it's the cheapest sort of paint. It was all made out of fish oils, and that's
All right.
what colour it was. So they all sort of blended beautifully together. But I like the way that the colours on the hut picked up the seaweed in the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dramatic mountain behind that, very simply, and I went straight square on it. So just to keep it really, really simple. So
Yeah.
it, go on.
What I've noticed with these images so far, I think I like this because it's bang in the centre.
Yeah.
There's not
Yeah.
putting on. There's no rules of thirds. This, that, and other.
This is the other thing, yeah,
Boom.
because
Bang in your face.
there is all these rules, and you should do this, you should do that, and I just don't bother. I don't. If it feels right in my stomach, it's right for me. And
See, I don't think it'd work to the left or the right. I think because it mirrors the background as well,
Yeah.
the shape of it.
It-
The roof mirrors the background.
Yeah. I mean,
So if it was left or right, it'd look very unbalanced. I think.
yeah, I think you're probably right. But I mean, I obviously I'll have taken 500-600 shots of this, and then I'll come back and I'll decide what I want to do with it. And I always shoot with a little bit of space around it so I can crop into it and play with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's another image I've actually framed up. I'll let it stay framed up. I don't know, but it's memories of that place, and it's just striking. So as far as the editing on that, there are a few things I've done to that. There's a horrible staircase down the side, which I'd taken out. And then there was a load of pallets. It's on a bit of a dock, so loads of piles of pallets, so they had to go. And I've no worries or conscience about doing that. I mean, to be honest, when I'm doing pictures, I'm doing it now, especially for myself. So there's no rules. I'm making images. I'm not trying to record a moment in time of something. I'm making an image that's to me satisfying, balanced, striking, and hopefully will be there after I'm gone.
Like you mentioned before, you're creating memories, aren't you? It's a memory for you.
Yeah, and it is because every year I travel a lot still, and I do books every year of places I've been, photo books with bits of copying, and they are the fantastic memories. And you go through and you find a picture, and then that picture will spark other memories of what you did, or what you had for dinner, or or who you met. And it's, as you get older and start to get a bit like I am now, forgetful. They're just fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So
Wow.
this is the place where we got stuck, luckily. So the wind here was like 140 miles an hour, incredibly blowing, and it all looks pretty cool there. But it was like a grit sand, and it was blowing up in your face, and it bloody hurt. In fact, my wife didn't get out of the car. When we got back to sort of a bit more peaceful area, we noticed all the paint had been taken off the car with the grit had been blowing up. So it was really quite dramatic.
Yeah.
Is this called a Vasterhorn? Is this? It's around the bottom of the coast of Iceland on the south coast. And it's a huge mountain range. It's been used in a lot of films as a right at the bottom, sort of bottom of the mountain on the left hand side. You can see there's like a little dark area. That's Viking village that was built for a film that I forgot what film it is now. But it was built for a film set, still left there. Incredible, and the whole beach is black sand. So low tide, you get like a black reflection pool, and it's just stunning. Nice. So I managed to persuade the wife with great difficulty to get out of the car and get her ready to go down the beach to get some shots. She did grumble and got back in the car, and that was it. And I stayed out.
Yeah,
I broke my ankle on that place because I was coming back and I fell down a bloody hole. So that's another little memory from that. But that mountain, I've forgotten how high it is, but it's damn high. And from there, from where I'm shooting it, I'm probably a good couple of miles away. But it's just so vast. Right. It's incredible. And lovely undulating sand dunes and the yellow mosses and grasses. And it's incredible place. It's called Stokeness, the beach. Would definitely recommend it. It's a marvellous place. A lot of the time, the mountaintops are covered in clouds, so I was really lucky to get it clear like that. And as I say, I was doing a dash around. I went 2 or 3 weeks going around the ring road of Iceland. Lots of places to go to. This is the place I really wanted to go, but I'd only got a couple of nights there, and because we got stuck there, I had a little bit longer. And because I was longer there, it gave me a bit more opportunity to play around.
Yeah, to go out. Yeah.
What a place! The cloud formations are fantastic. You get this wonderful beach with the sea, and the winds are so strong it whips like a foam up on the sea, and it blows across the black beach. But when the tide goes out, you get these incredible reflections of
nice.
Come all later on. I'm in order, but yeah.
That's what you call a landscape, isn't it? A proper landscape.
It's absolute. It's a dream. And the whole place. I mean, you can see there's a bit of pink in the sky there. I'm not sure what time of day I took that, but at that time of year in Iceland, sort of September, Octoberish, whenever we went, the sun sort of sets but doesn't set, and then it comes up again. Right. So you've got like a pink glow to the horizon all the time. So you've always
so you don't sleep then, do you? You're up all night and all day.
I've just got back from Namibia. I've been out in Namibia just before Christmas, and that was the same. I drove 2,500 miles, which is ridiculous. We went up the interior. In fact, I'll tell you that story when some of the pictures come up.
Yeah, when we later on, obviously. Yeah. Right, let's go on to the next one.
Right, so this one's in Norway again, in the Lofoten Islands. And if you see around the top of that cliff, there's a little black dot. That's my wife, stood on top of there. We sort of scales it. It is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, when you're stood there, it doesn't look quite as scary as that because there's a bit of a rock ridge, but it's a hell of a way up. And you get this lovely mist. And the thing, it teases you, the landscape teases you with the cloud coming in, it shows you a bit, and it ticks it away, and it shows you a bit, and it ticks it away. But it's absolutely stunning. And I forgot.
What I love about this is in Faroe Islands, you see a lot of the classic shots. I have never seen this.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well,
never seen it.
Well, I'll tell you maybe why. Because if you turn the other way around and look behind me, there's one of the classic landscapes of the Lofoten Islands, and it's a big. I'm trying to think what the hell it's called now. I can't remember, but it's a massive pointy mountain, and it's one of the ones everyone goes to see. But in the other direction, there's that. So I've been photographing this thing, and I looked up there, and I thought, shit, there's a path up there. So I said to my wife, who was incredibly good, as you can tell by now, you go up there, I'll get right up there. If you fall, I'll have it on insurance, I'll pitch for insurance.
Another memory.
Isn't that unbelievable? And it just drops sheer down to the sea.
And again, that thing, look behind you and see what else there is.
Because as I say, that isn't the view. The view is the other way. Yeah. The view is the other way.
Yeah. And going through.
Oh my God!
That one.
Now you're just showing off.
Well, that is it. it's a staggering bit of landscape, is that, because it's called the Flying Lake, and you can see why, because it looks like it's flying. Now, the place to get your shot from was further round to the right, but again, it was blowing an absolute gale up there. It was scary as fuck in the first place. Sorry, it was very scary in the first place, being up there, and to go on the edge was just a no goer. But from a bit further around, you'd have got a better perspective. But it's just absolutely staggering. So that's I've forgotten exactly what I did now, but I think there is about 18 images stitched together there. So there'll all be maybe 16mm images all stitched together, because you're just not going to get that in one shot without fisheye and distortion. But what a place! What an incredible place! So you walk. If you see in the middle, beyond the lake, there's a little group of houses. So you drive up to there, and then you walk from there all the way along this lake up to the path, climb up this cliff right up to the top here, and it's absolutely stunning. Wow. And then from the left of the cliff, from the left of the lake, where it disappears, there's a massive waterfall down to the sea as well. So
I've seen that classic viewpoint, but I've never seen this again. This view of it.
Well, probably, as I say, because it's stitched, because you can't get it all in. It's just impossible. And it's something that, to be honest, I'd not really done it until I'd been here. And I went to Kelsoy Lighthouse, which is another incredible location, which I think is coming up again. And that's when I started to stitch them together, because I just thought, you're just not going to get it in. So I took lots and lots and lots of pictures. And these days with the software, it makes your life a bit easier, isn't it? You can sort of stick it in the software, it stitches them all for you. And that's how I got to achieve that. But the cliffs dropping down to the ocean on that right-hand side are just unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, health and safety, imagine that in Brittany, they'd have handrails. They walk on
there'll be rope ladders and fencing all the way around, wouldn't there?
Coast Guard shops, Right, so this is the Kelsoy Lighthouse, and again, this is probably one of the best locations I've ever been to for landscape ever. And this is where they shot the James Bond.
The ending, wasn't it?
The ending where he dies, because beyond the lighthouse, on the right hand side, halfway up that cliff, there's a gravestone which says James Bond on it, which is a bit of a.
All right,
local put it there to get tourists to go. Again, this is a stitch shot, because it's just. But this place, I tell you, this is in the Faroe Islands. The thing about the Faroe Islands, they're all joined with tunnels. So you go to one place, and then you've got to hurtle through these bloody tunnels to the next island, and then go through another tunnel to the next island. And each tunnel, it's about 25 quid to go through the tunnel. So to get to here, you've gone through like 3 or 4 tunnels. It's cost you 75 quid. And then you can get the ferry across. So we got all the way up to the last place, got to the ferry. You can't book it in advance. We're full. Couldn't go. Drive back to another 75 quid back to the place, and did it again the next day a bit earlier. Got here, got on the boat, sailed across, came up to here, walked through this massive hill. Imagine how much walking it is to get up to here. And came across this, and absolutely blown away. And the light, I tell you, it's just mind blowing, because it's constantly giving you speckles of light, rays coming through, bursts of light here, dapple of light there, and it moves. It constantly moves. So if you're there for half an hour taking pictures, nothing's the same. It's constantly moving and changing.
Oh, nice.
And it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place to be. But again, as I said, if you look to the left of the shot along that ridge, it's just sheer down. So there's a little path right at the top of there, and then it drops sheer down both sides. So if you have a bit of a tumble and start rolling down there, you're gone. You're gone.
You're not coming back.
No, you're not.
Not from that.
No. And if you see right in front of me, if you go to the centre of the shot and go back, you can see the little track going up to the lighthouse. So that's the little ridge we have to walk along to get to this spot we are here. But
is that your wife? Is that your wife again over at the lighthouse?
It is actually. Yeah, it is.
Who a wife of yours?
Yeah, it is. But it's photo bombing again. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, she's good. You get to do everything, don't you? To get that perspective.
She's a belter. Yeah, she is. Yeah. But again,
what I love about this as well is the separation between them islands and that ridge and everything.
Yeah, on the far left.
The light's perfect and beautiful.
Yeah, and as I say, this is one of maybe 60, 70 shots of it that are all equally good or whatever in their own way, because they're all just different. But that dapple of light on these where it's hitting there, 3 seconds later it's gone. And then you got, and I think about landscape. You can sit and you can wait. But I mean, I could have gone up there and it could have been grey and misty and got nothing at all. after me
Yeah.
3 tunnels and a boat ride, you know, ended with nothing. And to when we started walking up, it was very grey and missing. I thought, I'm not so sure about this. But we were watching the light coming through, and it was just we get. I've got some marvellous memories of this place.
Oh,
we walk up to there, it's probably a
Excellent
couple of
stuff.
hours to get up there. And when you get up
Yeah.
there, you've got this. You're faced with that, but all the way up, it's pretty breathtaking.
Is it right as well in Faroe Islands? Everywhere you've got a toll to pay to
Yes.
walk on land
Yeah,
and stuff
it's
like that.
obscenely expensive. The government have franchised everything off, so everything's brought in through a government agent. So you I bought the yellow label, you know, that you get in Sainsbury's for sort of £6-8 quid. I think it was £56 in duty free. It's mental. And everywhere you go, every path, even if you're walking by yourself, you've got a toll to pay. If there's certain areas where it's private land and you've got to have a guide and you've got a guide to pay, and they take the piss, yeah. And as I say, to get to one island, you've got to go through the tunnel, and the tunnels are not cheap, and you've got to, each way. And then you've got the ones that aren't serviced by tunnels, which is like this one, you've got to get the ferry across. And the ferry may hold, I can't remember, say 20 cars. They're not big. And you got to queue up.
Yeah.
So I think we went with an hour to spare, thinking we'd be fine, and got in the queue. And no, we didn't make it, so we had to go back. But annoyingly, that day, I thought, right, we'll have a contingency plan. And I went to another spot, and then we couldn't get there because of a landslide. So that sort of mooring of my thing was written off. The 2 days before that, when we first got there, it was beautiful blue skies and sunshine, which it never is up there. And everyone going, "Isn't it a beautiful day?" I went, "No, it's not. I've come from mist and mood and magic."
Yeah, this works. The mood works
at all. So luckily it went, and then it really went over the edge. And another.
Right.
So this is
you mentioned mood.
So this is the same lighthouse here, and that's my wife in the middle, walking back up.
Of course it is.
So on the right hand side, that little clump on the right hand side, that's where I stood for the last shot and shooting back at this lighthouse. But then you can see all the ridges of the inlands and the islands all sticking out, all these rock formations. There's a fantastic waterfall on that first one coming down there, and you get the sun, and it is just I tell you, it's if you like landscape photography, you know, every corner there's something just marvelous. And these are there's better ones than this. There's and again my memory's gone, but you can Google it. There's some fantastic islands that are private that you're going to get boats out to that are just like something out of a science fiction. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just the layers, isn't it? That
layers,
straight
the light. And there's Jan stood in the middle there. That path is literally, I bet it's no more than 18 inches wide, and you can see how steep it drops down. It just straight off the edge. And
do you always get to wear red?
I was going to say, who picks the clothing?
I do. Because I mean, the thing is, and there's people who hate it. Oh, I don't like the red, because I'm not the only one who does it. There's plenty of people do it. And originally it originated from Turner, you know, the great painter. He used to put figures with red clothing on to draw the eye to a certain place. So it's a very overdone thing, I suppose. Really, it's been used by artists for years, but it does draw your eye in. It does show perspective.
Gives it scale, doesn't it?
It gives a great scale. And in some of my things, especially people who know me, it becomes a bit like, where's Wally? You know, where is she this time? She'll be there, sort of there.
never mind the lighthouse. Where's the wife?
Yeah.
That's why I wear red.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think he was on a trip to Iceland. I'd said, right, let's get you a red coat. I got a yellow one. She got a red one, and that's it. Off we went.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Right, so this is, again, in the Faroe Islands, and this is a little village called Saxon, which is all turfed roof. So this is a turfed roof church. There's also, all the buildings are turfed. Middle of bloody nowhere, this place. And the locals, they're not the friendliest, I tell you. They certainly don't want tourists there. So we got treated quite badly with this. But again, the light was just amazing. We stayed there for quite a long time. We walked beyond the church. There's a big lake. We walked right down the lake up to the coast, and mist came down and up. You can see just beyond the church there's a little bit of dark in front of it. That's the wall.
Yeah.
But the light and the colours, this lovely sort of, especially that time of year, the sort of autumnal yellows and things, and the light was just burning through. And then it light,
Beautiful.
again, on the
Beautiful.
left-hand side, you see how the light's just catching the bits of mist.
Yep.
It's, magical.
Oh, nice. You mentioned the locals were sort of rude to you.
Yeah, they were.
How rude were they?
Yeah, I mean, everything was, to be honest, as a landscape photographer, which I class myself as then, you're sort of used to breaking rules, aren't you? You know, you have vision in your head and you tend to, I mean, I try not to upset people too much, but if I need a shot and it has to be there, I tend to go. And most people are okay, especially if you have a bit of a word with them and a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
But this lot, no, there's no chance at all. Everything, you know, you took 1 foot off the road, and there was somebody coming down having a go at you. It was unbelievable. They were really grumpy, really grumpy.
Right.
Yeah, and not just with me. I mean, with every. I mean, there weren't hundreds of people there. There might have been 20 people there, but it was like a 2 or 3 hour drive.
So, was this a guided tour?
No. I don't do guided tours. What I tend to do is I'll find somewhere when I go. I'll research it to death over winter. Research. I'll look at travel agencies and see what they do, where they go, and what the big boys are showing people. Then I'll research those, and then I'll put my own agenda together, and I'll do that. I hate groups and I hate tours because if I get to a place like that and I know the light's going to come like that, I'll stay there until forever.
You could spend the full day there, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You literally could spend the full 8 or 10 hours there.
And if there's a coach full of people wanting to go, it just do me in. I just couldn't cope with it. So I don't even go on small tours for Safaris anymore now. I get my own vehicle and do my own thing because I've learned my lesson. You've got a very limited amount of time, and you know I was put it in at that spot for half a day, and half a day in a lifetime is nothing, is it? I mean, and you get what you get.
Exactly.
You know, it might have been blue skies, it'd been a disaster, but we got this. But then it could have been a lot lower, and he could have got nothing at all. But at the Faroes, you do get that. I mean, there's days where it's just continual rain, but you do get that where there's this beautiful dancing light coming through the clouds and movement all the time. There's movement, and I reckon you could go back there 1,000 times and you'd never get the same picture. They'd just be different every time. And you know, on a landscape, it doesn't just change. It's not just the light on the landscape; it changes the landscape. It changes how you perceive it, and it brings out things and shapes and things come out of the landscape that you didn't even know were there. I mean, I've got a farm up at Worth Valley, and I look over, Pond and Watershed Reservoir, Lower Laith Reservoir. I look over that lot, and the light on that landscape. I've been up here 40 years, and every day it's different. Every day. You know, and it brings out little bits, and you think, I didn't know a little ridge down there or that were there, because all of a sudden there's a light beam shining on it, and it's like that. So no, I couldn't do a group thing. It's, but again, for photography and for landscape, it's incredible place.
Yeah.
Different world, isn't it?
Yeah, that's back to Vasterhorn again. That's on those.
Is this the black sand you were mentioning with the reflections?
Yeah, so that water will probably be, I don't know. I should have got these in some sort of order. I didn't realise what we're actually doing, but yeah, that goes back to Vasterhorn. But yeah, it's maybe half an inch of water on that, right up to the mountain, and then you've got that. You get these fantastic reflections, and again changing all the time.
The reflection on it is just absolutely fantastic.
Stunning, isn't it? And again, well, I stayed there. I've got ones with a proper sunset behind it. I've got ones with the northern lights behind it as well, which is again what a place. What a place.
Yeah. Nice.
I always over jam my agenda, always. I'm shocking for doing that. And then I always push and stay too long and knacking myself over the next days. And I'm always chasing my tail. So when I come back, I'm absolutely knackered. But you get
look at the results.
You've got to
look at the results.
You've got to do it, yeah. But
it's a small price to pay.
It is. It's and that as it is mountain. There's two. I think I've got a shot later on of there's a sister mountain range. So this is called the Vasterhorn, and then round the corner there's the Easterhorn, which is very similar but a lot more colour in the mountains, and it hits the sun better.
No, this isn't it.
That's not it.
This Iceland.
That is back in Iceland. Yeah, we are bouncing about, aren't we? Again, who's there?
Yeah,
the red coat. Look, we're getting bored of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a guess.
You can see on the top of that hill, just on the right-hand side, there's a little platform. So you can walk up a little walkway up to the top of there and look down on the top of the waterfall. Incredible. Again, there's no barriers. There's nothing there. It's just incredible incredible scenery.
Yeah. And again, using your wife as scale into it.
Well, yeah, because without that,
You don't get the height of the waterfall, do you, without it?
it's a lesser shot. It's a lesser shot.
Yeah.
And I'd gone, I was paddling at this stage doing this, and it wasn't warm. I wanted to be square onto it, so I were up to my knees in water, which wasn't particularly good.
I mean, that's a lot of spray at the very bottom of the waterfall. I mean, please tell me your wife came back dry.
No, I don't think she did.
Please.
I don't think she did, but she didn't do it at all. She didn't go as close as I wanted to do. I mean, at that point, I reckon she's probably 300 metres from the foot of the waterfall there.
Really?
When you get up to it, you absolutely you can't photograph because there's so much water spray, and I did try, but it's there's so much water spray, but it's staggering. But these waterfalls, I mean, there's waterfalls that you think are spectacular. They've not even got a name. They're not even mentioned on the map. You know, this is again, I forgot what it is, but it's one of the big ones. But there's just a plethora of waterfalls around there. Incredible.
My God. And again, it's just the driving round, seeing what there is.
Well, again, yes, there is, but I mean, I'm massive research thing, so I'll research it all, and then I'll go into all, and then also work out an agenda, and then I'll take half of it out because I know I've overdone it, and then my wife will take another half out, and then we'll add a few more days on it, and on it goes like that. But yeah, so I have a plan. I think there was like 4 locations on day one, and this might be the second one. And then after this, we went on. There's a crashed DC-10 with an aluminium body that's on the black. That's a wonderful thing to photograph. So we went on to that after that. And then I think I got another 2 locations. I think the last one we just missed because I just don't have time to do it.
Right.
The thing is, if you're at somewhere and the light's gorgeous and you cool the end one, and I tried to work it out. Obviously, directional, it plays a big part, but also what I think will have the most visual impact. So the lesser ones will just have to be another time.
Yeah, it's an excuse to go back.
I don't think John will go back there. It's it was very hard. It was, it was 100 mile an hour winds. It was a very, very, very hard and cold holiday. So I mean, I might struggle. Right, that's the Easter Horn. So again, that's not the same mountain from the other side. That's a different mountain range, but it gets the sun. So this is right at sunset. Slow shutter speed, got a bit of movement in the water, and it just catches the sun. And I did a video from there, and you can hardly hear what I'm saying because I'm getting battered by the wind. But I'm just, I'm just totally elated by it. And it's just being there was just incredible.
Yeah, and just getting the colour as well like that.
Yeah,
it's just
and that's just as it was. Off the sun, last thing at night, and again climbing down on the rocks, miles from anywhere, with nobody about. Not the safest thing to do on slippery surfaces. Try to get the slow shutter speed.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, that's an insight.
Right, there you go.
Into the landscape side. Yeah. So from the landscape side,
right. So
you've progressed into wildlife.
Well, what happened with landscapes is, as you get older, there's only so many mountains you can climb, and up the top of the mountain for the sunrise and sunset is brilliant. And my youngest son is doing that now. He's up there all the time doing the crazy things I used to do, and as you get older, well, I don't say you get wiser, but your legs hurt a bit more. So, and the other thing is, I mean, I'd been doing it like 20 years, and after 20 years, I'm not saying you've shot everything, but I've been a hell of a lot of places, and I've shot a lot of stuff, and it's like if you see Niagara Falls, and then you go see Bronte Waterfalls, it's never going to be quite the same. I mean, it's a lovely spot, but it's all in perspective, isn't it? And I've seen some marvelous stuff and photographs of marvelous stuff. So for me to get my adrenaline and my excitement back, it was getting harder and harder, to be honest. And I've shot things in all different lights, and I've played with light, and I've done time exposure. I've done a lot, and I thought I need a new challenge. I mean, I was still enjoying what I was doing very much, but the buzz wasn't coming as fast because it was harder to get. It's harder to harder to find something that really, really excite me. So I thought, well, wildlife, there's a challenge. And to be honest, by this time, I'd pretty much stopped working completely. I mean, I would still be doing little studio jobs while I was shooting my landscapes. At this time, I decided, well, it sort of worked for me because I'd got to a position where I've always been sort of reasonably careful with money. So as I'd earned, I'd been investing in it. I bought properties and I bought invested well,
Yeah.
and I didn't really need to work. So if I can do this without having to sell anything, which means that I can do what I want to do, which is what I did. But the landscape stuff sold pretty well. So
Yeah.
it sort of generated more income, and I thought, right, okay, well, I'll have a change of path now. So yeah, I decided to do wildlife. So because I wanted to set myself a specific challenge, because I wanted to be, motivated and pushed a little bit more, I thought, right, I'll just do endangered species. So we'll travel around and we'll do endangered species and see how we're going with that. So I went up to Rwanda for silverback gorillas, and up to the Arctic for polar bears, and Botswana for lions, and Tanzania for cheetahs, and went all over the world just shooting endangered stuff,
Yeah.
Which
Well,
marvellous.
I know what's coming. I know what's coming next.
I've got a fact.
You've mentioned polar bears.
Yeah. You found one.
Let's get this screen on, because
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
there we go.
Again, you'll think I'm a liar now, because I keep saying I don't like my own pictures, but that is another one I've actually got up in my house. Great memories of that. That was a big female bear. But yeah, polar bears, they're the only animal that actively seek out humans for prey, to eat.
Right.
And they're a lot bigger than you think. And they can smell a ham sandwich about 2 miles away, so they're on the
So I'm guessing this wasn't a wide angle lens then.
No, that was a very with this, we'd hired these tundra buggies, and they were it was like an aluminium decking on 8-foot rubber wheels, and it trundled across the tundra. So you were relatively safe. You had a little warm cab with a drinks thing in, and then you could go onto this metal platform, which was like a lattice metal platform, and with bars round, and you're probably about 10 foot up in the air, but you were out in the open, and you could get incredible shots. And we've been tracking this mother, and she got 2 cubs with her. There's only one in this shot. There were 2 cubs with her, and what they do is they sort of sniff the air, and then they wander off. And basically, this is a place called Churchill up on the Hudson River Bay. Hudson Bay. Anyway,
Right.
northern Manitoba, top of Canada. That's as far as you can go. And this particular area is where, these polar bears have been doing this for years, long before humans went up there. And it's their congregating point. And they go up there, they congregate, and then they wait for the sea to freeze, and then they wander out to sea to get the seals. So they've been on a diet for quite a long time. They're cracked grumpy and they're very hungry, and they're just waiting. So this is the female bear sniffing the air to see if she can smell anything that's of interest up there, and taking a cub with her. And it's just it's just an incredibly difficult image to get white on white, even harder to get printed, because I tried to get this printed by a lot of different companies, and it just wasn't right. And eventually I found a company down in London. I'll give a shout out to the Print Space, who are incredible. And they wrote me a profile, and I use them all the time now. And they manage the white on white beautifully, and it's just perfect.
It is an absolute stunning image, isn't it?
That is one I like. And again, on the edit,
you say you're a critic of your own work. Yeah. If you could change anything with this image, what would you change?
On that one, well, I have changed it, because in reality there was more rocks in the foreground.
Right.
So I've taken those front rocks out, because I don't care whether people don't, say it's cheating. I don't give a shit. In my mind, I'm creating images. That's what it was distracting to me. I wanted that there. In fact, to be honest, I'm a bit of a frustrated artist. If I could paint, I'd probably be a bit happier, but I can't paint as well as I'd like to satisfy myself. So I'll take pictures, and then I can edit bits out. So there's more rocks in the front, but I'm pretty happy with that. I think what I'd like to have done is given it a bit more space. Again, this was in my days before stitching, but that was on obviously a fairly long lens, and a little bit more space about it. But I love the simplicity of it. And I love the fact that she's sort of sniffing the air, sort of to tell a story.
Yeah, it's lovely. And this one,
again, that's one I like, because it's backlit. And again, you've got the challenge of white on white, and then white on white backlit is really not easy faffing about with. And again, huge male bear, and he came past us, looked at us, went off, and I thought, oh, right, that's it. I've got a few shots, but I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to. Because obviously shot in raw files, and then I've had to play a little bit to pull things back again. And I wasn't sure what I'd got. I thought, oh, well, I've maybe missed my chance. And then something spooked him. I don't know what, because it must have been pretty damn big to spook him. And anyway, he came running back and did a little dance all in front of us again. And I got whole series of those. And then we followed him for a bit, and he went on some ice, and he was doing like a dance on the ice and sliding on it. Incredible. incredible moments with incredible animals, and they are huge. They are absolutely huge.
My God. How many frames do you take when you go on a trip like this?
Ridiculous. I mean, I can shoot 4,000 frames of owls on a night now.
Yeah.
I mean, I shot 1,700 frames of my kids sledging this afternoon. It's I blame technology because I'm on 28 frames a second now. And the thing is, if you can shoot 28 frames a second, all that's limited is memory cards and batteries, and a
Yeah,
bit more memory
that's it.
cards and batteries,
Yeah.
and then you've got to edit them down. But it's like I said, I shot the kids sledging, and there's 30 frames, but one of them, the eyes are looking straight at me. They've got a glint, a little smile on my face. It's just perfect. The rest are not quite as good. So it's a ball ache going through them, but somewhere there's a bit of magic that you'd have missed if you'd been on 10 frames a second, or like the old days, doing a shot. So I'll have taken silly amounts, mate.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
So I'm guessing you'd never try shooting in film.
Well, I started off on film. You wouldn't now know. I started off on film. All the commercial days were all on film. And our company was one of the first companies to trial digital photography. And in those days, the camera didn't just do one shot. It did a passing in magenta, passing cyan, a passing yellow, and a passing black. So you couldn't do fashion with it. Nothing could move but for product photography. And then we trialed all those and I sort of grew up with the digital thing and got sucked into it. But I still believe by having the disciplines of shooting on film originally, knowing that you can't edit it, you can't do it. You've got to get it right first time. And if you've got those disciplines now with digital, then you're on a winning line really, because it's easy to think, oh, I'll do it later. I'll sort that later.
You're very much like that, aren't you, Daz? You try and get everything right on camera.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the right thing to do. But I mean, then there's always room to play. I mean, we're gifted now, aren't we? We're at a situation where the digital's come on so much. I mean, from a commercial and professional point of view, everyone's a photographer now because everyone can grab a camera with very little experience and bang out some really quite nice images. But again, I was never started off life as a photographer. I was an art director who saw a picture in my head and wanted to bring that picture to life. So digital for me is a joy, and the tolerance of things now. I mean, you can shoot 2 or 3 stops out, and you can bring it back, and and then you can layer things up, and it's incredible. And it's painting with light, isn't it? Rather,
yes. Definitely. Definitely.
And the thing is, again, there's that school of people who say, "Oh no, you shouldn't be doing that." Who says you shouldn't? It's like the guy, when they invented electricity, oh, that's cheating. Yeah, I've got a candle. Not wrong with my candle. You've got to move with the time. You've got to use things that are there for you. And photography, the camera, in my mind, it's a tool. It's a tool to create an image. That
it's there to be used, isn't it? To use it.
And the whole world's very, very visually aware now. Everyone's seeing edited things. It's the world we live in. You've got to move with the times and be part of that, or you're just going to die. Yeah. So
definitely.
This fella, beautiful condition, this chap. I think this was in Kenya. I think he was in Kenya a couple of years ago. And there was a coalition of three male lions, and this was the daddy of all the 3. And I sat with him for quite a while. In fact, I sat with him until dark, and then I lit him with the car headlights, and got some really nice, interesting shots that way. But, I just love the softness of his hair and how it's blowing in the thing. And they stink, these big lions. They're a bit smelly beasts, but it just looks so serene, doesn't he? And
just looks so chilled out, doesn't it?
And beautifully groomed, And again,
how far away are you from this lion?
I am probably about 20 foot. Yeah, probably about 20 foot.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Not a chance.
But the thing is, when I do these safaris, I'm in the Jeep, and I have the open-sided Jeep, so can shoot. But the animals pretty much see the Jeep as another big animal that's never done them any harm. Now, if you've got out the Jeep that are dancing about, he knows it's a human, he's going to have your legs off. If you're in the Jeep, you have a bit of respect and you stay quiet and you just, then they just don't bother you. Again, another reason why I stopped going on with groups of people. I've been in groups of people where a couple of young girls are back going, ah! And jumping up and down, and then the line sort of has a leap towards and you think, shit, I don't want to be part of this. So not very far away at all. But he shot on a 300 lens, 300 2.8 lens at 2.8, which is another thing I shouldn't do, which I'm a devil at doing. Because when you get that, when you shoot on 2.8, narrow depth of field, you get this beautiful, beautiful softness about the shot. The danger is you're going to get a sharp nose and a soft eye, which I've done a lot of times. But when it comes off, that is an absolute stunning lens, and you get a lovely softness to it, and sort of you just can feel the freshness about it, can't you?
Yes, you can on this one. Yeah, most definitely.
I got one very similar to that at Yorkshire Wildlife Park.
Yeah.
I got one in Blackpool.
Oh, I think I might have gone a bit too far. No, I am.
No.
This one.
The eyes on
Yeah.
that thing.
So that one,
wow.
that's in. Where's that? That is in Samburu, right at the top of Kenya, and top of the Masai Mara. Now, leopards. I mean, I love cats. Full stop. The big cats are one of my big things, and some I've always liked shooting. And leopards are notoriously hard to find, and when you do find them, they tend to be asleep because they're pretty nocturnal, and they tend to come out as the wildlife safari areas are closing. So most of the big national parks are gated. So at 7 o'clock you're going to be out by sunset, and that's when the leopards come out, and you're going. And on this trip, it was on a conservancy, which was owned by the local people. And in this case, it was the Masai Mara. So the Masai Mara owned the land and basically were our hosts. They drove us about, they cooked for us, and it was a group of many families with the cattle, the nomads, they traipsed around, and they built like an old Indian wagon train, so the cattle's in the middle, and all the tents around the outside, and they sort of guard the cattle. And then they have spotters in the Masai Mara, and the spotter warriors will go out and they'll see where the leopards are, see where the lions are, come back, report, and say, right, we can't go that way, or leave your cattle that way because they're going to get eaten. So it's in their interest to do that. So they know where they are. So unlike on a normal sort of safari thing, when you go on this lot, it's all part of the same family. So you're with a guy who's a guide, that's his job, a Masai warrior, but he's a guide, and he'll say to his brother, right, fella, where have you seen the lion? Where have you seen the lions and the leopard? And they say, it's up there. There's a leopard up. He says, where do you want a leopard? Yeah, up in that tree up there. It'll be out about 7 o'clock. So normally you couldn't go that time. With these guys, right, I want to go see that leopard. Right, no problem. You normally you've got to stick to the tracks and the paths. It's their land, they can do what they want. So you go driving over the field up to wherever, park under a tree. So can you see him there? No, I can't. No, his tail's hanging down there. No, I can't see him. Oh, yeah, there he is. So you'd wait, and after a little bit, he'd come down the tree. And this guy came down the tree after maybe half an hour, and there was a big rock sat in front of us, and that is about 15 foot away. And it's about 10 foot above us, so he could easily had a little bit of dinner there. And he just sat, put his legs like that, like he was super chilled, and stared. And I tell you, I got chills up back of my neck, and I can still feel it now. And I wanted to do the camera, so I was a lot closer, obviously, because I think I'm on a 600 there. So I was looking, and I could see his eyes very, very close in my viewfinder, and I'm thinking, this is pretty mental, because he's right in front of me, and he's above me.
What are you thinking?
Down. So,
but you mentioned there getting chills. When I first saw this image you sent us, that's exactly what it gave me, because the eyes, the sort of piercing straight at you.
That's fantastic to know, that does. Yeah, well, I mean, and the wonderful thing, and again, the great thing about these pictures, then that I can look at that picture and I can tell you 15 stories about what happened that day, which obviously I won't do. But one thing I will tell you is this: it's a female, this one, and she came down the tree, and she'd got a cub round somewhere, and the cub had gone off. She'd gone up the tree because she was sick of being pestered by a kids, and she got up a tree, and the kids had gone off somewhere. So she come down the tree and said, "Where are my kids?" So she was making noises and calling for them. So because of that, and the kids obviously didn't want to know they were off somewhere. They stayed nice and quiet. And she was looking for them. So she got top of this rock and look. Then she got to another rock. Then she go up a tree and look. So I got like 20, 30 like perfect locations, vantage points where she was looking out, and just incredible experience that I couldn't ever have got if I'd not been with these guys. And the guides are a massive part, but these Maasai warriors though, and the food were fantastic. It was just absolutely superb, and it was just on their land, so you could go where you wanted. And they were very, very, very tolerant of your needs. So if you said, "Look, I want to be up at 3 a.m," and off you go, and that'd be it.
And they'd take you.
Oh yeah, nice. No problem at all. And the other thing, which was quite incredible, I mean, obviously these guys are used to doing this, but I've never known guides who were as aware of light like they were. So you see an animal normally, and a guide would pull up and say, "There you go." these guys say, right, well, there's your leopard, but I know the sun's there, so I know you want to be around here. And it was a dream, absolute dream. So,
Oh, nice one.
but this leopard I stayed with until it got dark, and the last shots I got with her were at 15th of a second.
One thing I have noticed with all these wildlife ones, there's no sense of scale. Where was the wife?
Yeah. Well, I sent her up there. And
You
actually,
say they're quite big cats. You can't really tell, can you? There's no sense of scale,
I
David.
didn't want to bring it up, but it's the ex-wife now because, that's where she went. No, she was sat next to me, and she was sat next to me on the next one. But no, I could almost smell his breath.
Oh, right.
So I want to about putting this one in, but this is the reality of the bush.
That's it.
And for years and years, I thought, I really want to watch a kill. Or I really want to see a kill because I just wanted to witness it in this particular spot. And I can't remember if this was Uganda or somewhere, but wherever we were watching these baby lion cubs, and all of a sudden there was a noise, and they all picked their ears up and ran. And it was the mother who'd seen this oryx and was saying, "It's right, your dinner's here, kids." And so we followed them. We got round the corner, and there she was. And if you look at look at the claws, and they're like traditional cats. There's only one sort of cat that can't retract its claws, and that's a cheetah. All the others sort of retract, and the claws go up. You can see all the little claws where the claws go back into. And what they do is they bite them on the neck first bite, and then they leave it for a bit, and then they put the mouth over the animal's nose and suffocate it. This thing here, it did its first bite, and it played dead for a while, and then it tried to escape, and 3 lions jumped on it. And I have a whole sequence of these, but they are horrific. 3 lions jumped on it, and then the young ones came, and they basically ate it alive. It took 45 minutes to die. It was absolutely horrific things I've ever seen. I'd never, ever want to see another one. And I had to keep shooting because I was there. But again, 15 foot in front of it, oryx there, 3 female lions, and maybe 5 cubs for about 2 hours.
Well, it's the reality of wildlife, like you say, though, isn't it? It's the food chain.
With this one, I think it's like from a personal standpoint, this one image is accepted for myself simply because there's no graphic of blood or gore. It's
definitely.
Like I say, it's the first bite, and I think if they've been, like you said, the gore and the ripped apart, that's maybe a little step too far.
Yeah,
but like Darren said, this is nature, and you can't interfere with nature.
I've got plenty of gore ones, but as I thought twice about presenting this one here. But
it's a fine line.
I think it's an acceptable image. It's reality. We all know it goes on. I knew it went on, but I didn't know how horrific it was. But to witness it was just it was something I'll never ever forget. And I've got a lovely set of pictures covering it. But I mean, Jan was in absolute. She was sat next to me. And she just couldn't look at it. And I was struggling, to be honest.
Yeah.
What comes to mind with this image is National Geographic.
Oh, thank you.
This could be in they should come and see you, David. They should, if they're watching National Geographic, get in contact with David.
Well, I like the eyes, because the lion's aware I'm there. He's looking at me. He knows I'm there. But it's that claw on his mouth. Yeah. And the pitiful look it's sort of pleading look. And I've got some other ones where the lioness has got a mouth over his nose and choking, and it's got a pleading look on the antelope's face, and it's the bloody heartbreak.
It's heartbreaking.
Reality,
Let's go on to the next one.
Some of the happier times. Right, there you go. So again, that's a cheetah. The leopard who's just found a cub. So this is the mum, and this is the cub, and they were just playing. And again, got under a tree. They were under the tree. I bet I wasn't 10 foot away from them, and they just stayed there for a long, long time. Incredible images.
It's the eyes again on the mum. It's like she's with a cub and she's aware of her surroundings.
Yeah,
she knows you come any closer and you're next.
Oh yeah. And the opportunity of this again, I was on 300 lens, probably at 2.8, might go to 5.6, but very, very close. Lovely creamy backgrounds, which were very distracting, but it's all softened off nicely with that because I could get that close. And I got some with the light hitting the eyes, and it's just marvelous.
Yeah, it is that the love of the cub, isn't it, with its mother. With its eyes semi-closed again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Stunning.
what I did though, David, with these, I tried to get all this sort of images together.
Good.
Because there you go.
So, well, this was one for my last trip just before Christmas, and this was in Namibia, up on the interior. And again, we managed to find these leopards. And this leopard, it was over the top of this mound. There was a warthog, and again, I've got series of the water. He didn't kill it, but the water was there, and the water was with a young one, and he'd been laid down watching over this ridge, waiting for this water to come, and we just sat there waiting to see what happened. And hoping that it didn't get him, but he didn't. This is a young male cub that we found the mother to start with, and then we couldn't believe it. The young male was there, and we followed them. I don't think I've put the image in, but we followed them for a good few hours, right until that's just natural sunlight coming over the top of the hill as the sun went down. Nice bit of light underneath his chin, which I like. But we followed them right until the last thing, and then it disappeared, and I thought, right, it's time now to get back. Set off back, went down the back of these bushes, and there were her and her mother sat in the bush, and I shot it with a 28mm lens.
Oof.
Unbelievable. It was shot 28mm at something, and again, that was like 50th of a second. And I shot lots, and luckily I had a few that were sharp and came out. And they've got, I mean, it's on my Instagram page, but it's like a lovely sort of sunset dappley bush behind, and she just sat there almost in the dark, and just magic moments. But we spent a good hour and a half with these, just wandering about, and mother tried to call the cub, and the cub didn't want to know, and was wandering off and having a little play around. Just that interaction. I've had that a lot of times in my life where we've stumbled across something and been lucky enough to stay with them. They've not been too worried about being there, and they've got on with their life while I observed it, and it's just a joy.
Yeah, it's absolutely ideal. And again, that movement with that paw off the ground.
Yeah, well, again, and that's your 28 frames a second, because I've got loads where, and I actually went through, it's funny to mention that, I went through and I was looking at I probably got, 15 positions each step. So I wanted it, so it gave that anticipation feel about it.
Yeah.
And again, it's trying to tell the story and
most definitely.
The beauty having all those frames is where it's foot with flat, it's not half as good, and it's just but that's very intentional.
Yeah.
So this is in Tanzania. Again, incredible lucky moment, and it's 3 cheetahs looking out for food basically, and they're all sat on top of a mountain. I've been following these cheetahs for quite a long while, and I saw this stump on this bit of a mound, and thought, wouldn't it be great if we went up there? But there's no chance of that. And then one went up, and I got a few shots of that. And then 2 went up, I got a few shots of that. Then all 3 went up. And I sat for maybe 3/4 of an hour just while they looked around, and you can see they're sort of checking out each has got his own zone.
Yeah.
One's looking each way,
I would say they're all looking in different directions, aren't they?
Yeah, looking to see what's around, yeah. And again, we're sat in the Jeep a bit further away, maybe 30, 40 foot away, but they're just super chilled and that tree's a bit of a joy, isn't it? It's a lovely shape. Yeah. And I don't know if you can see on there, but
that's laid down.
There's cobwebs around here coming from the tree down to the bottom as well, which are on the original.
Oh yeah, you can just see that on the left hand side.
On the big files, you can see them. So that tree was always covering these. They're bird-eating spiders. The ladies they put these webs, and it's like wire basically, so they'll stand quite a lot. And yeah, they're all in there.
Oof, no, don't like spiders.
Next. Moving on.
Right.
Yeah, so this is the Lofoten Islands, and no, is it Lofoten Islands? Yeah, Lofoten Islands. So no, we've done Lofoten Islands, and then I did Senya, and then between the two there's a fjord, and I forgot what it's called now, but where the seagulls are, and we went out on the boat, and the water was like glass. I mean, you go up to Mull, it's choppy and grey and bloody horrible. I was shooting at like 2,000th of a second. All the numbers were perfect, everything you wanted. And they were coming in and catching right in front of us.
My God. Look at the claws on that, though. That is
just ready to impact that water.
Yeah.
Well, this is right up your street, Daz, isn't it? This is what you like.
And the amazing thing about this is, and again, it's something I didn't know until I was watching them do it. They go in, they grab the fish as they go past it. So they actually grab it in the front, the legs go over it, and they sort of grab it from behind and then pull it backwards. So,
right.
Yeah, incredible.
My God. And again, Daniel, you keep mentioning about the eyes.
Yeah.
Just look at
Piercing.
the
Absolutely piercing.
Yeah.
They really are. Right.
And this is.
I remember seeing this on your Instagram when you first posted it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought my first word was wow. Wow.
And you know that's the right laser shot because that shot from my tent. I was actually laying in my tent shooting that. So,
yeah, it just screams laser, that for me. There's no effort there. There's no work there.
up on the horizon, this fantastic tree, which I thought might come in handy. And then we saw these giraffes crossing. There was maybe 5 or 6 of them. I think it was probably the last one. I just waited for that last one to get that sort of, just a moment of a dynamic image.
Yeah.
And
it's just
that was right in front of the tent. Was that at sunset?
My God, this was it's one of them absolute wall hangers.
Yeah.
The tree leans more or less the right side, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Isn't AI great?
But
that is absolutely stunning. Backlit again.
Yeah.
Well, silhouetted, if you like.
Yeah, silhouetted.
Absolutely.
Again, and I wanted to delay that. So it wasn't totally silhouetted. It was just part silhouette.
Let's go back to this one.
Yeah. So there's a bit of detail in there, but not too much. But,
yeah, you can just see the markings, can't you, on the giraffe, and that's it.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful tree. But as soon as I say right outside the tent flaps, and there's no water in these things, so you got your water brought by buffalo and cart, and then the guy boiled up the water on his pan in front on his fire and fill it in these big satchels. Then pour it into a bucket, and the Maasai guys would hoist the bucket up into the air, and then tell you your shower ready, and then you go in and you'd have a proper shower, and it smelt of wood smoke. And we'd gone back, and I thought I could do my shower now. I'll go out and tell the bloke I'm ready for my shower. So I went out the tent and almost got rugby tackled and thrown to the bloody ground by this guy. And I thought, what's going on? And get back in your tent, get me tent. And apparently there's some lions right outside the tent that I was totally oblivious to. And I was supposed to tell Pete, I was supposed to blow my whistle, whatever. He'd come across and escort us back up. So yeah.
Oh my God. But
going
on to this one.
Yeah, right. That's
the elephants.
Again, that's just before Christmas. And they're a special sort of elephant, these. Very, very rare. I think, I was going to say there's only a few thousand. I think there's only a few hundred in the world. And the desert-adapted elephants. So your normal elephant needs 150 litres of water a day. These can go 3 or 4 days without water. They've suffered in a way because of the diet and water intake, and the tusks are very small because there's not much calcium in the diet. The trunks are longer than a normal elephant, so they can dig down into the sand and find water. And basically, they live in the dried up riverbeds in the desert. There's desert adapted elephants and there's desert adapted lions and jackals, and they all live in this area.
God.
But we went looking for these. Incredibly lucky we found them. We went up top of this massive sand dune and saw them in the distance, then drove down, and I got some lovely shots because we went in front of them, kept driving in front of them, and let them walk towards us. So we've got these fantastic sort of bit of landscapey things, really. Because
yeah.
And I made the mistake first few years of doing wildlife, just doing very close-up shots, and like Daniel said, I think there's no scale to it. Sometimes you need an environment to place it in. So that's got a lot of environment around it, and
it has, yeah.
It's absolutely lovely. I think I've just put one in, but Horse as they walk towards you, and it's just a really nice moment. I love
just that gap in the trees where the elephants are. It's nice,
Sorry?
well balanced. Just the gap in the trees where the elephants are.
Yeah, that's God who did that, not me. Yeah. I didn't chop them down.
And talking of elephants, backlit again.
Yeah, again. That was a spot, and I think that's Zimbabwe. We're at this place, and what we try to do is, at the end of the day, we'll find a sunset spot, and then we'll park up somewhere where it's fairly safe, get our little table, get your G&T out, and have a G&T and talk about the day, and watch the sun go down. This particular spot, which I didn't find, but someone found for me, and you see in the background to the right of these elephants, there's lots more elephants, and there was probably 100, 150 elephants there, and I sat down behind this palm tree. And I just watched them come. And again, I've got thousands of these with little glints between the trunks and just walking in front of the sun. And you see the elephant's back, the actual orange is actually coming through. It's just burnt. It's really a bit overexposed, really. But it's just, it's one of those magical
But
moments.
you can see all the hair, can't you, on its stomach and down its legs and everything.
And I've got a lot where there's a waterhole just beyond that. So when the sun went a bit low, I went up to the waterhole. I got a lot of them in the water, which are just magic images as well.
Oof. It's absolutely stunning. Like I say, all your images, they're all different, aren't they? They're all some are silhouettes, some are action.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, mate, as I say, I've never ever been images. So all the raw pictures I've taken are on terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of hard drive, and I've got pictures of everything I've ever shot. So, like I say, I could just go back and find stuff. But because I've shot thousands and thousands of images, I've just pulled out a few random ones for you of different.
Yeah.
But I've got all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and again,
look at that light.
Yeah, that's joy. Yeah, well, that's the same leopard that was climbing up that hill again. That was November.
All right,
November last year, and he'd gone down and flopped down behind this thing, and I was trying to get to a position where I could get some catchlight because he'd gone very, very dark. I just managed to move the Jeep round, so I've got that catchlight coming through and just highlight his back and his. I quite like
and it's high on that side.
Yeah,
it's just different again. But it's looking over its shoulder, isn't it? Looking at you this time.
Oh, he knew damn well it was there. Yeah, so I was backing up down to get the light on his head.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely fantastic. Really are. It's they're just magical, aren't they? A magical image is this.
Yeah, I quite like that one.
Very nice.
And you mentioned gorillas at the start.
Yeah, I did mention gorillas at the start. This was one of my first endangered guys I went to see. I went out to Rwanda. The impenetrable forest, it's called, for very good reason. It sort of pisses down all the time. It's very slippy and thistles and brambles and goodness knows what. Absolute nightmare to get through. And the guides go out ahead of you and try to find something, and then you've got to catch them up. And we had Sherpas carrying our camera gear as well. I mean, they made it very easy for us. It's still desperately hard to do to find them. But when we found them, fraught with problems, very, very dark in the forest. I was shooting again 2.8, which I always say I'll never do, and I do. And I've got lots of these where sharp nose, soft eyes, no good to anybody. Total disaster. But I mean, I took thousands, so I've got some nice ones. There's big male who beat his chest and come running towards us. There's a female who was asleep in the bush, and I'd given my wife one of my lenses to hold, and she had it on a string around her wrist. And this gorilla took a liking to it and grabbed it off her. But he actually grabbed it, but he got a hold of it and he didn't actually take it, but he actually made a grab for it. So,
my God.
Again, lovely. But the nice thing about that, it was very dark, but you got that lovely play of light through the little lights.
Yeah.
It's just getting the light to coincide with the bit that you wanted, and be able to move around. But with this lot, we got, I think there were 3 or 4 Sherpas chopping the undergrowth back. There was a couple, because they're protected animals, there's a couple from the wildlife trust or whatever, with, making sure you weren't misbehaving. Then there were carpet bombing in the Congo when we went there. So there were armed guards with us as well. So there were part of about 15, 20 of us going into the thing. But smashing.
My gosh.
Smashing experience.
But absolutely stunning. It's a very peaceful image as well, isn't it? It's very delicate.
Yeah. There's another one actually, which I maybe should have put on, but there's Jan said to me at the time, because obviously with the gorillas, they can catch human diseases, and because they can catch human diseases, the permits are a fortune to go see these things. But when you find them, you can only stay with them an hour, and that's it. That's your lot. So you've got an hour with them, and you can't go closer than 30 foot because you can't pass on your germs. But we sat down and we were very quiet. We'd done it a while before, and we knew what was what. And these things actually came towards us, which is obviously beyond our control. And this fella sat down maybe 6 foot in front of me, and I ended up doing portrait shots of him on a 50mm lens. Incredible. And Jan said, do you want me to take a picture of you with a girl? No, not bothered about that. And then I regretted it. And then there was us in the party and 2 Australian anthropologists making the groups of 4. And they took a picture of me, and it looks like I'm hiding behind Jan as this gorilla's coming down the path and straight towards us. And I've got my camera on Jan's shoulder to get some shots of it. And It's frightening how big they are.
My God.
Put my Jan's in tripod now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Dan, I'll send you that picture. If I don't want to send you, I'll send you that picture because it's quite an interesting one. You can stick it in.
Yeah. We'll put that on at the end. But yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Before we go on to David's owls, which he absolutely specialises in, which you're going to have to see in part 2. So tune in next week for part 2, where we'll go into all the owls. And if you think these wildlife images have been good, wait till you see some of these owls next week, because these are unbelievable. So as always, if you enjoy this, please give the old thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, because these images so far are all well worth subscribing for. And we'll leave David's links to all his books and Instagram feeds all below. So yeah, tune in next week for part 2, and we'll see you again then.
Cheers.
Bye for now.